In this After Effects tutorial we are going to look at how to create something similar to these film titles for the film The New World by Terrence Malic. So these are the actual titles, and you can see that we've got some masking revealing the river, we've got several layers of video going on at the same time, and this is the kind of thing that After Effects is really good at doing, compositing layers of video. Okay, so let's stop that for a moment. So you open up After Effects to start a new composition, which we do by going to Composition, New Composition. I'm going to call my composition New World. I'm going to leave it as PAL D1 DV, which is normal television 3:4 aspect ratio, 4:3, sorry. And 15 seconds should be fine. I'm going to leave the resolution at half. We can change that later if we want to. So OK that. And now the next thing that I would do, which I will almost always do, is import some footage to work with. So I'm going to go to File, Import, File. Okay, so I've prepared a Photoshop file with various layers on that we're going to use in our composition, and we need to import this as a composition. Okay, so if I open up this folder, we can see we've got various layers, and the first layer I'm going to put in is this background layer of the map. I'm just going to drop that onto the timeline, and we'll see that's now appeared in our composition window. So the next thing we're going to do is put the river layer on top of this map. So I'm dragging down the file that has the river just above the background map in the timeline window there. Now you see that's appeared on top as a new layer on top of the original map layer. Okay, that's a little bit big at the moment, so I'm going to scale it down. If I open up, you see I opened up the layer with those triangles there. Scale it right down, and now that it's a bit smaller we can see it's got corner points, so we can drag it on the map. If I hold down Shift to constrain, move it into place. Just going to rotate it slightly so that it fits with the original river path there, roughly. Okay, that's the next layer done. Right, so now what I want to do is reveal this layer as if the water is spreading out over the map, and we're going to do that by adding a mask to this layer and then animating that mask. So to do that, I select my pen tool from the top and make sure the layer is selected that I want to work on, and then I just start to draw around the river. And if you are drawing a map and not a shape layer, you should have yellow points, as you can see here. Okay, so now that I've completed that mask, you see it's cut out areas of the layer that aren't within the mask, and we can add some settings to that mask by opening up Mask in the layer we're working on. I'm going to feather the edges. Now you see that's softened the edges of the mask, and I'm going to add a keyframe, which is by pressing the stopwatch. Now remember, you only have to press the stopwatch to add the first keyframe, and after that all you have to do is change your place on the timeline and make changes to the values on that layer. So this is the point we want the map to, the shape of the mask to finish at, and now I'm just going to start bringing in those points here so that we can gradually reveal the river. Now you see, as soon as I started to do that, it's automatically added a keyframe here at this point, so this is going to happen at 2 seconds. I'm going to take that halfway in. Now I'm going to move back even further on the timeline and take them in some more. Now you can only do this when your points here are open points. In a moment I will show you. If I was to click off, then you see now this has changed to a different mode, and it's quite fiddly, but by clicking on and off the mask, you should be able to get between those modes. It's probably worth taking a bit of time to practice that. You can also select multiple points and move them all together, like this. Okay, so now you see if I scroll back and forth along the timeline, you'll see how that mask animates between those keyframed stages. And we have our river flooding over the map. Next thing we're going to do is add some atmosphere to the scene, and we're going to do that by adding a light. So I go Layer, New, Light. I'm going to leave all these settings for now because we can edit them later when we can see what we're doing. I'm just going to OK that. Now you'll see that at the moment it's added the light, but it hasn't actually affected any of the layers, and that's because lights only affect 3D layers. So to make these layers 3D, we need to check this little box below the cube, and you'll see that by doing that the light has begun to affect those layers. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust some of these light options. I'm going to take down, no, I'm going to leave that up actually. I'm going to widen the cone angle. You see that's just opened up the space that's illuminated a little bit. And I might warm up my light colour slightly. There we go, to make it look a bit old. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add a camera layer. Just shut up that layer for the moment. Layer, New, Camera. I'm going to leave all those settings as they are and OK that. And now you see what we're seeing here in the composition window is actually the view through the camera. So I'm going to edit some of these settings. I'm just putting the centre of the camera's point of interest on the river. Adjust that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You see that we're zooming into the river there. And I'm actually going to, as we saw on the titles at the beginning, I'm going to zoom the camera in on the river as it is revealing. So what I'm going to do there is just click on the stopwatch to add the first keyframe for the zoom, and then once the river has revealed on about 4 seconds, I'm then going to zoom in further, and you'll see now we end up quite close in on the river, going backwards and forwards between those two values. What I am going to do is at the moment the animation will go straight from one keyframe to the other. By selecting both of the keyframes, right click on them, go to Keyframe Assistant, Easy